Patrolling the Rio Grande for illegal gill nets. Game wardens on the hunt every night. Those nets can stretch from Mexico to the United States, trapping, killing fish, cutting into a dwindling supply.
The wardens say poachers are going to greater extremes. Channel 5's Kristen on pricing and chief photographer Mark Vecchio on the river with them. The impact, gill net poaching on the Rio Grande.
In the dark, this is where the Rio Grande meets the Gulf. A river split by two countries, well known to smugglers. But in this section, a different kind of crime. A crime against nature, the victims it leaves, and the larger impact of what happens. Confronted by these men enforcing the law on a dangerous part of the border.
We're out here with the game wardens. They've asked us to wear these bulletproof vests for our safety from anything that might come across from the Mexican side of the border. This gill net is causing major problems for the fish here on the river.
It's a weeknight in October, and it's dark. Too dark to see far. But this is the exact moment game wardens have in mind to look for fish poachers. They're on the hunt. Not only do they hunt in the dark and with their lights turned off, but they push these boats near their limits. High speeds on an open boat on a pitch-black Rio Grande. A river littered with dangers from shallow obstacles and generations of homemade tackle gear. They're pushing the speeds on this boat because they want to catch someone in the act. We're here with game wardens Ira Zuniga, Juan Resendo, and Mike Gonzalez. Just spotted their first gill net stretching from Mexico to the U.S. Across the river, and at Mexican fishing stations are still working and know what's going to happen. This is a three-boat operation. Everyone's wearing body armor. In the past, they've come across human smuggling.
Yeah, so that's why we have more boats out here to cover for us.
The men on the other boats are watching our backs, while a game warden tosses a heavy treble hook to get a grip. Once they snatch the main line, they pull and keep pulling, as much as they legally can. The gill net that gets pulled out is lined with a number of fish. Spotted trout, red drum, mullet, crab, all stuck in this plastic netting.
It's like a volleyball net, right? And it's stretched from one side to another, and anything that tries to go through it is going to get caught.
The game wardens cut them out as quickly as they can.
They get tangled up, they get tired.
Survival is a roll of the dice. It all depends how long they've been there, how strong they are. Some perk back when they're back in the water, but others don't make it. Among these species affected near the mouth of the river, the threatened tarpon.
Some of them get that net entangled in their gills for too long, and they can't breathe properly. And that's what gets them? Yeah, then they get inside their gills and it tears them up, and
They spot the gill net by a very faint pattern on the surface.
I saw the buoys.
Oh, okay, the buoy, that's the giveaway.
Yeah.
The characteristic floating buoys that hold up the net along the surface of the water.
Oh, we're coming up to the anchor.
Oftentimes, they're anchored down on both the U.S. and Mexico sides, using whatever's heavy, holding down a river-long net that catches anything in its path.
Part of the problem must be that it's so cheap, right?
It is.
I'm sure
it's cheap to make. We try and hit them in their pockets, but we can be out here day and night and we'll cut it. It's just a constant battle.
Zuniga says it's getting worse. Game wardens continue their patrols here on the river. As enforcement here continues, poachers are forced to find new places.
There's no fish in Mexico. There's just abundance of these commercial fishermen. There's no rules, there's no regulations, there's no possession limits, there's no size limits, and the demand is there, so they risk going offshore, going as far as Corpus, and setting their long lines or setting their nets in our river.
But they can't remove the whole line. Part of the river belongs to Mexico, so they have to cut it halfway across the river and leave the rest.
I bet it's frustrating where you got to cut it halfway in the middle when you're trying to with the mission you've got.
It's frustrating, again, for those folks that are in the commercial fishing industry that do it the right way, that abide by the rules and regulations and buy their licenses. It's not fair, and that's why we're out here.
It's an ongoing challenge to enforce the law out here and to keep the fish alive in the Rio Grande. These game wardens continue their hunt.
Over the course of a couple hours, covering 5 miles, they pulled up 10 of these gill nets already, continuing their patrol tonight and continuing future patrols later on. On the river, Christian Von Pricing, Channel 5 News.
Game wardens have seized nearly 300 nets over the last 14 months, and there is a hotline set up to report illegal fishing activity. That number will be up on our website attached to this story right after the newscast.
Well, you heard game wardens' comments about the fish supply in Mexico. Another first-hand account, the head of Tamaulipas Sports Fishing Association, telling us about their fisheries.
That is very bad. They're depleting, they're coming down, they're crushing them. And the reason is that since there is no surveillance, first come, first served.
We're told the Mexican government is charged with enforcement along the Rio Grande and the coast, but doesn't have enough wardens. Tamaulipas state officials are looking to assist.